butternut squash and carrot soup you'll ever make. What could be better than easy, nutritious, and absolutely delicious? Sally, that girl, in the kitchen. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sally, that girl, in the kitchen. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to make the easiest butternut squash and carrot soup. Yes, the easiest. I say that with no shame because it is true. You will never make an easier soup. And honestly, it is so crazy delicious. You're not going to believe how easy it was to put together. It's absolutely yummy. It's vibrant with those gorgeous colors from the butternut squash and from the carrots. And there's no cream whatsoever, but the consistency is super thick. You can thin it out as much as you want or leave it as thick as you want. And it's absolutely nutritious and delicious. And it comes together in a flash. It's simple, it's easy, it's yummy, and it's a great way to get everyone to eat their veggies. I came up with this recipe because my mom had had some surgery and she could only have pureed foods at the time. And I thought, what can I give her that's going to be yummy and nutritious, full of vitamins? And I just started to rummage through my pantry and my refrigerator, and I'm like, I've got this butternut squash and I've got these baby carrots. And before I knew it, I whipped together the creamiest, most delicious soup without any cream whatsoever, but it's nutritious and it's yummy. And it's so satisfying that everybody wanted to have some, not just my mom. I had to make a second batch because it's that delicious. We kept eating it over the next couple of days. It goes great with everything. You can serve it before a meal. You can have it with a sandwich or a salad for lunch. It's absolutely divine. I am super excited to teach you how to make it. So let's not wait another second and let's get started. For today's recipe, you will need 13 ounces of fresh cubed butternut squash, 16 ounces of baby carrots, 1 large yellow onion, 1 garlic clove, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt or whatever your preferred salt is, a half a teaspoon of ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon of paprika, a half of a teaspoon of ground cumin, a healthy drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, which should be about 2 tablespoons or so, 32 ounces or 4 cups of chicken broth, and 32 ounces of vegetable broth, also 4 cups, for a total of 8 cups of broth. Of course, if you want to keep this vegetarian, then you can go with 8 cups of vegetable broth and just omit the chicken broth, but I love the combination of the flavors. You will also need a cutting board and a knife, but I'm telling you, there's no real chopping at all in this recipe. You're going to need a ladle. You're going to need a wet measuring cup and some measuring spoons. And then I'll be using a blender, but you could also use an immersion blender instead if you prefer. Either one of them will work fine. And finally, you will need a medium-sized pot with a lid. So now that we have all of our ingredients and tools together, let's get started. So as I said a moment ago, no chopping. You're just going to take off both ends of the onion, peel it, and then peel 1 garlic clove. Leave them whole. Then just add them in to your medium-sized pot. We're not going to chop at all, and we're using cubed butternut squash. So that's already chopped up. So you're just going to throw that in. I mean, could that be any easier? And then, of course, by using baby carrots, we're going to do the same. We don't have to cut. We don't have to peel. We're just going to throw those baby carrots right in. I mean, it's almost laughable. So easy. Then you're going to add in a tablespoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt or your preferred salt, half a teaspoon of ground black pepper, a tablespoon of paprika, and then a half a teaspoon of ground cumin. These flavors work so beautifully together. These warm spices, amazing. Now I'm adding in 4 cups of broth. This is 2 cups of chicken broth combined with 2 cups of vegetable broth. But as I said, if you want to go all vegetable, then you can add 4 cups of vegetable broth, however you prefer. This is half of our liquid. We'll be using a total of 8 cups by the time we're done. So now we want to give this a nice healthy drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. That's about 2 tablespoons or so. And that's pretty much it. I mean, how easy. Zero chopping, just pour everything in. Then we're going to turn our stove on to high. Then we're going to give this all a little stir just to kind of bring those spices together, make sure everything is well incorporated. And then we're going to allow it to come to a boil. We're going to put on a lid, but allow it to vent. And then we're going to go ahead and lower our heat to low. So this is going to cook for 40 minutes vented like this, but we are going to come in every so often during those 40 minutes, and we're going to give it a little stir, check on it, make sure it's looking great. And of course, as our soup cooks, you're going to notice that the amount of liquid starts to reduce, of course, because of evaporation. So those wonderful flavors are infusing our vegetables, but we will be losing some liquid. So that's why it's important during those 40 minutes to come in every so often. I just kind of love basting that onion. It's going to get so soft, falls apart. And then you just come in every so often, check on it. And if you notice at any point that there's not a lot of liquid, then just add a little splash of either one of your broths, because we will be using all of that broth after we blend this soup. So it doesn't matter which one you add, just pour in a little splash of one or the other, or alternate, and then just make sure that there's always a little bit of liquid in your pot. So after 40 minutes, we're going to turn our stove off because our vegetables are now soft. I'm going to show you just how soft that onion has become. You just come in there with a fork and knife and it just falls apart. It's literally falling to pieces. I just mixed it all right in and everything is super soft, especially that butternut squash is falling apart. So I'm going to take it off the heat. I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes to remove a little bit of that steam. Just allow it to cool off a touch. And then once it's cooled off just a little bit, then you're going to start adding it to your blender, or as I said, you can use an immersion blender and do it right in your pot, however you prefer. I just love blending this all up because it's so quick in a blender. You're not going to believe. Look how beautiful and thick it is. But don't worry, we're going to add more liquid to our pot after we blend. So just pop on your lid and blend. And this is going to take less than a minute. You're just going to pulse it a few times. The vegetables were already so soft and that butternut squash was practically all broken up already, that this just blends so smoothly and so quickly that didn't even take a minute. And look at how absolutely beautiful. The color is amazing. It's super thick and creamy. So we're just going to take that and we're going to add it right back into our pot. And then remember, we still have the remaining broth. So what we're going to do is, once we get all of this beautiful golden mixture into our pot, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the remainder of our broth. That's why I said we're going to use a total of 8 cups, because whatever is left, we're going to add it in. And now we have a thick, absolutely gorgeous soup. I'm going to turn my heat on, of course, because that broth was room temperature, so I want it to heat up a bit. And once it has, this is ready to go and ready to be served. Look at how absolutely beautiful. It's still thick, but it's just the perfect consistency, full of vegetables, creamy, delicious, nutritious. Everyone is going to love this. I can't wait to take a bite. It's so good. My mouth was salivating in expectation. So creamy, so delicious. I just can't get enough. It is so, so tasty. Perfection. Those warm spices. A touch of spice from the black pepper. Absolutely creamy, delicious, super yummy, so good. So how yummy and creamy and vibrant and absolutely gorgeous does this butternut squash and carrot soup look? I told you it would be so easy. It was so easy that I normally take off my jewelry. I take off my rings or watch or whatever I'm wearing when I'm filming these videos for you, because I'm going to be chopping, I'm going to be getting my hands dirty. But you know what? I washed my hands, I left my stuff on because there's no chopping. We just peel that onion and we peel that garlic clove, and the rest comes pre-chopped. We threw it all in, and it was just absolutely easy, and the results are spectacular. And of course, as I mentioned in the beginning, you can use all vegetable soup instead of adding the chicken soup if you want to keep this vegetarian. But the combination of the chicken soup with the vegetable soup just give it that really slow stewed flavor. Although honestly, this was pretty quick and the results are spectacular. Trust me. Nah, better yet, don't trust me. You're going to have to try this recipe yourself. And of course, if you've enjoyed today's recipe, don't forget to like it, to write me a sweet comment, to share the video with your friends. I really appreciate when you do that, of course, because it really helps my exposure. It helps my channel grow. So thank you so much for doing that. And of course, if you're not subscribed here on YouTube to Sally, That Girl in the Kitchen, what are you waiting for? Stop what you're doing, go over and subscribe so that you get notified every time I put up a new recipe video. And there's so many recipe videos up on my channel already. Make sure to explore. I have them broken down by category, different playlists. There's tons of stuff there that I know you're going to love. And if you're not following me already on social media, be sure to follow me as Sally That Girl in the Kitchen on Facebook, Instagram, and on Pinterest, and as Sally That Girl FL on X, Snapchat, and on TikTok. And if you ever have a question or a comment about one of my recipe videos, you can always write to me, preferably through my Facebook or Instagram pages. I get those messages. I try to respond to all of them. So any question you may have, you can go ahead and reach out to me there, and I will do my best to get back to you. Once again, I just want to thank you guys for being with me, for watching, for being here. Those of you who watch me time and time again, I really appreciate it. And those of you who watch and then send me a picture of your results and how much you've enjoyed my recipes, that really makes my day. So thank you so much for doing that. Keep doing that because I love it. I love to see that you saw something that looked yummy, you got inspired, and you made it yourself, and you loved it. So thank you so much for sharing that with me. Thanks again. And as I always say, I'll see you next time. Sally That Girl in the Kitchen.